My name is Jo Hung.
After I confessed my love to my girlfriend several times and was rejected, I brought her best friend home.
Now she regrets it. Part 2. Chapter 16. Why is Jo Hung in such good shape? What's going on? Why are there so many people here? I looked at the crowd that suddenly came around with some surprise. The boys who were playing basketball on the other side of the court also put down their balls and gathered around, watching with great interest. I couldn't help but wonder, are they watching the game or the people? Jo Hung has such a good figure? Tian Run and the others' gazes made me feel a little uncomfortable. They stared at me, as if they were surprised by the muscle lines under my short sleeves. I smiled slightly, not knowing how to answer, so I could only shrug. Still playing? I looked at Bella. Although I was a little nervous being watched by so many people, I still didn't want to give up the game. Since when do you care about what other people think? She smiled mischievously, and I knew she was right. So I took a deep breath and prepared myself for her attack. Bella dribbled the ball to me. She was agile and fast. I tried to keep up with her pace, but she easily broke through my defense with a beautiful crossover step, and the basketball went into the net. Beautiful crossover step. The audience next to me exclaimed, and someone even shouted, "This ball is so white." Oh no! This leg is so accurate. I couldn't help but smile, and I felt that I was also infected by this relaxed atmosphere. How does it compare to before? Bella asked me. I've made progress, but it's not enough. I stretched my body and prepared to continue the competition. More and more people gathered around me, and they all seemed surprised by my basketball skills. After all, I usually don't show off my skills, and Bella's basketball skills are beyond everyone's expectations. As the game progressed, I felt myself getting into the groove. The score was very close, but I knew I couldn't drag it out any longer. So I decided to take a chance and slammed the ball against the backboard. When Bella turned her head, I quickly rushed forward, jumped up, caught the rebounding ball, and dunked it hard into the basket. Bang! With a loud noise, the backboard broke and the fragments scattered. I was stunned when I landed. This scene made people around me exclaim, and the girls even screamed in fear. Looking at the scene, I felt mixed emotions. Bella came over and helped me brush off the glass fragments on my body. She whispered, "You win. It's not bad to be forced to this point." I nodded with a wry smile. I thought I would not be affected by the outside world, but it seems that I still underestimated the impact of this situation. Tian Run excitedly shook Kelly's arm and said excitedly, "When he jumped up just now, I seemed to see his abdominal muscles." Kelly looked at me with surprise, as if she knew me all over again. Tina's eyes also revealed a hint of complex emotions, which made me feel a little uncomfortable. The physical education class ended like this. Although I took the initiative to admit my mistake, the school only gave me a simple reprimand and asked me to clean up the scene. However, my name in this incident had spread around the campus, and everyone had a strong interest in this senior student who broke the backboard. The boys were envious, and the girls' gazes made me even more uncomfortable. When I was thinking alone, Kongyu came over and whispered, I'm sorry, Brother Zhou, I was wrong this morning, don't hold it against me." I looked at his embarrassed look, smiled, patted him on the shoulder and said, "I didn't hold it against you in the first place." At this moment, I realized that maybe there are some things that we really don't need to care too much about. 17. My dad would beat me to death. The day's classes were over and it was finally time to go home. I felt a strange sense of uneasiness, thinking that I might be surrounded after school today. I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, and I didn't know what they would say to me, but I just instinctively felt that I had to leave school as soon as possible. So I quickly packed my bag and left the classroom immediately. Tina saw me walking so fast and seemed a little flustered, so she quickened her pace to catch up with me. She caught up with me a little breathlessly and asked, "Wait for me. Why are you walking so fast?" I looked back at her and said calmly, "You know where my home is, there's no need to rush to follow me." She hesitated after hearing that, as if she suddenly realized that she was chasing too quickly. "Are you not hurt?"
She seemed still worried about the injury I got on the court.
It's okay.
I responded simply, thinking to myself, she really cares about me. Then she mentioned the meal I cooked at noon, saying it was delicious, and I just nodded in response.
Along the way, she seemed a little absent-minded, and finally couldn't help asking me, "You and Bella, are you very familiar with each other? It seems that you chat very naturally. Do you like her?" I was a little surprised and didn't know why she had such an idea. So I explained, we are cousins and grew up together, so it's natural that we are familiar with each other. After listening to my explanation, Tina seemed relieved, but immediately asked, "Really? So you don't have boyfriend-girlfriend feelings towards her?" "No," I answered decisively, "we are family." Her expression seemed to relax a little, but I also noticed that her expression was a little complicated. We continued walking home, chatting about some unimportant topics, but I felt that she seemed a little different. When I got home, I started to cook dinner while Tina helped with the housework. During the meal, she tried to find topics to talk to me, but I was not used to talking too much during meals, so the situation was a bit awkward. After dinner, she took the initiative to clean the table and wash the dishes while I took a shower. When she came out of the shower, I saw her sitting at the table studying seriously, and I thought this quiet life was not bad. At this time, my phone rang. It was a message from Kelly. I glanced at the screen and it was just a simple greeting. I didn't reply. Tina looked at me curiously and asked, "Whose message?" I replied calmly, "Nothing important." She seemed a little uneasy, but didn't ask any more questions. Kelly's news made me feel mixed emotions. We used to be close, but she has been hot and cold towards me recently, and I don't want to get entangled. Tina is another mystery. Her attitude towards me has also changed. Maybe I was too cold, or maybe her mind has changed. Chapter 18. Why do you have to be different? After school, I went home with Tina. She had recently lived in my house, and although it was only 2 days, she acted familiar with it, as if this was her home. I started to prepare dinner, and she helped to clean the room, although I thought the house was clean enough. During the meal, the atmosphere was somewhat silent. Tina seemed to be trying to find a topic to chat, but I was used to not talking while eating or sleeping, so she stopped talking when she saw that I didn't say much. After the meal, she took the initiative to wash the dishes, and I walked to the bathroom door, and suddenly thought of something, so I turned around and asked her, "Do you want to take a shower?" Her reaction was a bit surprised and shy, her cheeks flushed. She couldn't take a shower at Joe Hang's house, so she took a shower outside yesterday. "I'm not at home, let alone when I'm at home." "Okay, you can use the bathroom, it's okay, it's locked." I reminded him and went into the bathroom. "Ah, good." Tina answered in a low voice, and her jade-like earlobes turned red. After she had packed up, she came out and sat at the table, took out her study materials, and prepared to start studying. After a while, she heard the sound of water coming from the bathroom. When she thought of me taking a shower, she couldn't help but think of my figure. What would it be like to take a shower with a figure like that with an inverted triangle and double doors? For a moment, a hazy picture appeared in her mind. Wrong. Tina shook her head and immediately put her imagination aside, wondering how she could even think about that kind of thing. Although she forced herself to concentrate, the sound of water stopped when she came to her senses. She immediately pretended that she had been studying hard, staring at the book, holding a pen, and reading very seriously. After a while, I came out of the bathroom in my pajamas, with wet hair and a towel covering it. Because he didn't wipe his body very dry, his pajamas stuck to his abdomen, and his distinct abdominal muscles were particularly conspicuous. Although Tina tried very hard to concentrate, her eyes would always unconsciously drift towards me. Goo. Tina's eyes suddenly widened, she couldn't believe it. What are you doing? Did you just swallow your saliva? Is this true? No way. Myself, is this the kind of person I am? From childhood till now, she has never been in a relationship, let alone having feelings for any boy. She felt that she should be the kind of nerd who only knew how to study, and was completely different from those who were brave enough to pursue love during adolescence. But now, why is my heart starting to feel confused? Why can't I concentrate on studying? I didn't notice anything unusual about Tina. I glanced at her and went to blow dry my hair. Tina slapped her cheeks with both hands to calm herself down. Forcing myself to immerse myself in the ocean of knowledge, unable to extricate myself. Put aside all distractions and forget about your emotions. Buzz. At this moment, she heard Jo Hang's cell phone ringing on the table. She subconsciously looked in the direction of the voice and saw a message on Jo Hang's screen. Ton ton? Tina's heart trembled uncontrollably when she saw the message with the note Kelly. Why did she send a message to Jo Hang? Isn't she very annoyed with Jo Hang? Tina was very curious. She only saw who sent the message but not the content of the message. When she thought it was a message from Kelly, she wanted to know what the message was about. She reached out her hand and wanted to touch Jo Hang's phone. Just one glance. But her hand suddenly stopped in mid-air, and she realized that this seemed wrong. This seems to be prying into other people's privacy. What if the content of the message is something inappropriate for children? I only saw the screenshots in my old phone, and the time limit was before my senior year of high school. She doesn't know if we chatted in my new phone, and what we talked about. After much hesitation, Tina took her hand back, thinking that she couldn't do such a thing. Although she really wanted to know what Kelly sent me. When I came back, he took out his exercise book and prepared to start studying. Tina spoke a little unnaturally, and whispered, that, your phone rang just now. Really? I picked up my phone, opened it and took a look. After seeing the message reminder, my eyebrows slightly frowned. I just took a look and turned off my phone without replying. Tina kept observing my expression. This reaction made Tina even more curious. What message would Kelly send me? Did Kelly confess to me? That's unlikely. I have also read the chat history in my phone, and I know Kelly's attitude at school today. It is obvious that she doesn't want to be with Jo Hang. At this moment in Kelly's home, she was lying on the bed. I was holding my phone, and inside it was a message she had just sent me. What are you doing? There were only 3 short words, but she hesitated for a long time before sending them out. If it was in the past, I would reply quickly. Even if I didn't reply immediately, I would explain the reason later. But now, half an hour has passed and I still haven't responded. She really hopes there will be a read function so that she can know whether I have seen the message or not. I haven't seen it yet, or I saw it but didn't reply. Kelly stretched out her hand and slowly typed a few words. Why are you ignoring me? I wanted to click send to send it, but my finger wouldn't press it, as if I was struggling with my thoughts. After a moment, she deleted these words. I turned off my phone, lay flat on the bed, and covered my eyes with my arms. Really, it would be great if it could be the same as before. Why, do you have to be different? Chapter 19 Anyway, you should not contact her. Turn off the lights. I said softly. Yeah. Tina responded. It was late at night, and Tina and I returned to the bedroom to prepare for bed. This was already her 3rd day living in my house, and she had obviously gotten used to this kind of life. After all, if I had any bad intentions, I would have taken action long ago. Her vigilance towards me gradually disappeared, and it even seemed natural. After turning off the lights, I lay on the bed, staring at the dark ceiling, thinking about what happened that day. Today, I accidentally became the focus of attention at school, and I guess my classmates' views of me will change. For Tina, the most shocking thing was probably knowing that Bella and I were related. She suddenly spoke up and asked in a low voice, Bella, doesn't she have any friends? I responded with a and felt that her interest in Bella was obviously more than usual. Then, if I take the initiative to talk to her, will she pay attention to me? Tina continued to ask. I was silent for a while, thinking about how to answer. Finally, I said, yes, but I suggest you don't make friends with her. Why? She was obviously confused by what I said.
I knew that Bella's personality and past experiences could not be explained in just a few words. So I said vaguely, if you stay with her for too long, I'm afraid your self-confidence will be frustrated. I turned over and tried to end the topic. Tina's curiosity was obviously aroused. She propped herself up with her arms, stared at me, and said firmly, just tell me, I will definitely make friends with her, don't worry. I was a little frustrated by her insistence. So I got up, turned on the light, and started looking for something on the table. After a while, I found an old photo and handed it to her. It was a little girl with a bright smile, holding a stack of certificates and a trophy. It was a photo of Bella when she was a child. Is this Bella? Is it real? Tina looked at the Bella in the photo and obviously found it difficult to connect her with the current Bella. Looking at her surprised expression, I was silent. Bella has indeed changed a lot, from a lively and cheerful child to what she is now. There are many unknown reasons behind it. I know these stories, but they do not belong to me, nor can I tell them easily. I can only sigh and say, some things are not as simple as they seem on the surface. Yeah, really. I nodded and continued, Bella is the typical other people's child. She is the smartest child I have ever seen, and has shown great talent since she was young. She is proficient in everything, including music, chess, calligraphy and painting, and can learn them once she learns them. She can easily win first place in any competition, and her grades are always among the best. Your grades are in the top 5 in the grade, right? If she can play fewer games for a month and concentrate on studying, she will definitely surpass you. Ah, yes, really. Tina opened her mouth in surprise when she heard what I said. She knew Bella was very good, but she didn't expect her to be this good. I pondered for a moment and continued, I have never been better than her in anything since I was a child. She has such a high talent and a very arrogant personality. She never treated me as her cousin. So for a long time, I even hated her a little. Thinking back to the past, my eyes became deep. Once I played basketball with her and I won. That was the first time I surpassed her in some aspect. She cried, but I laughed, and laughed very happily. This incident hit her hard. She cut her hair short immediately after returning home, hoping to surpass me in sports. Short hair is indeed more convenient for sports. I sighed. I understood that if I wanted to beat her, I had to use my advantages. So I started to teach her how to play games. Although she is very talented and can quickly get started with any game, she is still a little worse than me in games. She worked hard to play games, trying to catch up with me. At that time, I finally regained some confidence, and she began to regard me as a rival and her personality was no longer so arrogant. At this point, I took out another photo and handed it to Tina. The photo was of Bella and me, probably taken in junior high school, on my birthday. In the photo, I closed my eyes and made a wish to the cake, while Bella wore my birthday hat and secretly ate the cake, and was photographed. Tina looked at the photo and said, I think your relationship may be stronger than that of ordinary siblings. She handed the photo back to me with a little envy in her eyes. I could feel that she envied this close relationship because she had never had such friends or relatives since she was a child. I nodded, put the photo back, looked at her and said, so do you understand now? It's tiring to get along with someone like Bella. There's no need to make friends with her, and she doesn't need it either. Tina shook her head slightly, a smile on her face. No, I want to be friends with her now. I can only make progress if I can learn from excellent people. Chapter 20 If I confess to him, will he agree? Kelly walked out of the house and headed towards the school. But her condition was not very good, and it looked like she hadn't slept for long. My message until very late yesterday. After about 2 hours, she decided that I must have seen it and deliberately didn't reply. She was quite angry at first and was going to question me when we went to school. But on second thought, maybe I really won't pursue her anymore. If it was before, she might be happy, thinking that she was finally free of me. But now, I don't know why I feel a little uncomfortable. I don't like him, right? Otherwise I wouldn't have kept rejecting him. So what is going on? These questions troubled Kelly the whole night, so she didn't sleep well. Tina and Tion run for their opinions when she got to school, maybe they would be of some help.
Ha! Kelly yawned as she walked along the road.
Looking at the road ahead, she felt that it was still a long way to get to school. She really hoped that Joe Hang would suddenly appear behind her, call her, and go to school with her. This way they can chat when they are alone on the road, which they don't have this opportunity to do at school. But, this is just a fantasy after all, how can it be possible?
Eh?
Kelly suddenly widened her eyes and watched a person walk by her.
Isn't that figure Joe Hong? Joe Hong?
She called out subconsciously, and Joe Hong heard the voice and turned his head to look at her. After that, Joe Hong looked behind Kelly again, turned around and left.
Eh?
Before Kelly could say anything, there was another person next to her.
Good morning, Tong Tong, what a coincidence, meeting you here. Ran? You're taking this road too? Why didn't I see you before when I was in school?
Kelly's eyes flashed with surprise. The person next to her turned out to be Tina.
I was just calling Joe Hang, did she hear it too? Ah.
I moved and live in that direction, so I'm taking this route.
Tina answered hesitantly, pointing behind her.
Fortunately, she had just seen Kelly in front of her, so she deliberately slowed down her pace and distanced herself from Joe Hang.
Oh. What's wrong with you? Didn't you sleep well? You don't feel energetic?
Tina looked at Kelly, who looked just like herself a few days ago.
Kelly nodded and responded listlessly. Yeah, I didn't sleep well.
Tina thought about the fact that Kelly sent a message to Joe Hong last night but didn't get a response from him.
Maybe it's because of this incident that I didn't sleep well. So what does Kelly want to do? Has she changed her mind and wants to be with Joe Hong?
The two of them went to school together and walked into the classroom. They found that the classroom was quite lively and noisy.
What's wrong? Tina asked Tian Run, who was sitting in his original seat. Tian Run pointed at Joe Hong and the others and said, Joe Hang and Bella are very popular now. Well, Tina and Kelly looked in the direction of Joe Hang and Bella. I noticed that people kept coming over to this couple, chatting with them and delivering gifts. Bella, this is the snack I bought for you this morning, here. Bella, do you want to play ball with me this weekend? We are short of someone, why don't you come along? Joe Hong, we are going to sing at the weekend, do you want to go? Joe Hong, can you teach me how to play basketball? Tina yesterday.
Such popularity is like a disaster for these two people. Ever since he entered the classroom, his face had been gloomy and his brows were furrowed. It was obvious that he was very impatient.
Boom!
Suddenly, Joe Hong slammed the table. Although it was not very heavy, the sound scared the others. A loud noise made the classroom quiet instantly, and everyone felt a chill running down their spines.
Joe Hong and Bella didn't say anything, but their faces didn't look very good, and Bella even showed an expression of annoyance. Go.
The people around them left them and returned to their seats. These two people are really hard to mess with, and they dare not say anything.
When there was no one around, their frowns finally relaxed.
Seeing this scene, Tian Run couldn't help but sigh, they are really hard to get along with.
No wonder they don't have many friends. I think they just don't want to make friends.
They're probably not difficult to get along with, they just don't like to make noise, and they're not very familiar with other students.
Tina subconsciously started to defend them.
Now she knew the situation of Joe Hong and Bella. They have no ill intentions, they just don't like making friends with others, and they have a bit of a peculiar temper.
Bella, as his relative, should be the same. Kelly stared at Joe Hong.
She had a lot to say to him, but she couldn't find any chance.
After all, I was the person he liked before, so can I be the special one?
Unexpectedly, in just 3 days, Joe Hang went from having so many people revolving around him to having so many people revolving around him.
But I can't see him around me.
She originally wanted to go to school to ask Tina and Tian-run for their opinions and ask them how she should face Jo-hang. But now it seems that it doesn't matter whether I ask or not. If I want to ask, I must ask Jo-hang himself, only then will it be useful.
But Jo-hang was really handsome yesterday. What do you think? If I confess to him, would he agree? Tian-run looked at the two of them expectantly, trying to get the answer he wanted.
Unfortunately, the two of them shook their heads almost at the same time, without any hesitation, causing Tian-run's face to fall.
How rude! Jo-hang and Bella were in a very bad mood at this moment.
It was clear that their place was a pure land yesterday.
Why has it become such a chaotic place today? It's so annoying. Bella couldn't help but mutter something, and then spit out the gum in her mouth. Jo-hang looked at her and asked, "What happened? Did we do anything? Didn't we just play basketball yesterday? Is it that serious?" "I don't know. They probably just like new things. They're not that familiar with us, so they just want to get along with us." "Then why should we just look for you? Why are they looking for me? Aren't they familiar with me? They have been laughing at me for 2 years."
After Jo-hang finished speaking, he glanced at Kelly, the troublemaker who had been laughed at for 2 years. It turned out that she was also staring at him, and this time, his eyes met hers. Kelly saw Jo-hang looking at her. The moment he made eye contact with her, her heartbeat quickened and she felt a little nervous. She quickly turned her head away, a cherry-like blush appeared on her face, and she gently placed her right hand on her chest and muttered,
"What's the situation? Chapter 21. Does he not like me anymore?" After class, Kelly left her seat and immediately went to Tina's side. Ran, accompany me to the bathroom." "Oh." Tina was stunned for a moment, then stood up and left the classroom with Kelly. The two walked in the corridor, heading towards the toilet, but Tina looked at Kelly and seemed to have something to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called themselves out alone, right?
In the past, they always took Tian-run with them, and the three of them acted together.
"What's wrong? Just say whatever you want to say." Tina guessed Kelly's thoughts directly.
Kelly looked around and found that there was no one familiar around her.
He whispered in Tina's ear, "That. I'm telling you, don't tell anyone else. It's just.
Didn't I say before that I don't like Jo-hang, but I don't know why, the more I look at him, the more I like him."
What's going on? Shoo. Keep your voice down. Don't tell Tian-run, she will definitely laugh at me."
Kelly's face flushed red, and her big eyes were suddenly filled with panic. At this time, Tina's expression was a little dull, and she even looked a little bit unbelieving. She thought about the message Kelly sent to Jo-hang last night, and she didn't look very well in the morning. It turned out that her attitude towards Jo-hang had changed.
"You're not falling in love with him, are you?" "I don't know. If I say it's possible, will you laugh at me?" Kelly looked at Tina with a hint of uneasiness in her eyes.
Liking someone is not a big deal, it won't lead to ridicule.
But if you fall in love with someone you have rejected for 2 years, that is really laughable.
She herself felt it was a little ridiculous. The man had been pursuing her for 2 years, but she had never agreed.
As a result, after he showed me a little bit of his talent yesterday, you were immediately attracted to him? Isn't this too shameless? Well, I won't laugh at you, but I think your idea comes too late. Jo-hang is very popular now, and hasn't he confessed to you in a few days? Yeah. Does he not like me anymore? Kelly's inner anxiety reached its peak at this time. She was very happy when Jo-hang didn't bother her on the first day.
I felt something was wrong on the second day, and on the third day, I actually started to feel uneasy.
I can't stand the test. What if Jo-hang is playing hard to get? Then I will fall into the trap easily? I think, probably. Tina didn't dare to tell the truth.
After all, she saw it with her own eyes when Kelly sent the message last night. Jo-hang didn't care at all and chose to read the message but not reply. This is definitely not what I like, but if I say it too directly now, it will definitely hurt Kelly's feelings.
Then what should I do?
You can talk to Jo Hong, just in case there is any turning point. Tina knew Kelly had no chance, but she still gave her this suggestion. I hope she can face the reality in this direct way. Being rejected by Jo Hong in person, she should give up. Just talk to Jo Hong directly. Okay, then can you do me a favor? Please tell Jo Hong that I want to talk to him at the stairs at noon.
Ah.
I'll go and talk to him. Why don't you go by yourself?
I don't dare.
Kelly said awkwardly. She thought that if she said it herself, it would be in front of others and she would be laughed at by others. And if Jo Hong rejected her on the spot, it would be even more embarrassing. Okay, then I'll go talk to him, but I can't guarantee that he'll agree.
Tina hesitated for a moment, then agreed.
After all, Kelly is still her good friend, so she can help with this.
Okay. Thank you. Kelly hugged Tina happily, then turned around and went back to the classroom. Tina could say anything else. She saw Kelly leaving. She sighed helplessly, feeling a little complicated. As Kelly's friend, I hope she can succeed. But for some reason, she didn't really want Kelly to succeed. I even prayed secretly in my heart that Jo Hong would not be persuaded by Kelly and would not agree to her. At this moment, Tina only felt a burst of fragrance coming from her side. She looked up and saw a person passing by her. Bella? Tina looked at the person walking by. It was Bella. She remembered that she had asked Jo Hong about Bella's situation last night.
He also said that he wanted to be friends with her.
But it's easy to say, she doesn't know how to get along with someone like Bella.
Although you will get a response if you take the initiative to talk to her, if you force yourself to start a conversation without any topics to talk about, it will probably make both of you feel awkward.
Pa.
At this time, Tina saw something fall out of Bella's pocket. She looked closely and it seemed to be a bunch of keys. It was noisy in the corridor and Bella didn't notice it fell out. She hurried over and picked up the key.
There was a small pendant hanging on it.
It should be a peripheral from the game, but she didn't recognize it.
Bella.
Bella turned around and saw Tina standing behind her, a little confused. Tina shook the key in her hand and said, "You dropped something." Bella felt her pocket and found that something was missing.
She walked over to Tina and took the key back.
As she put the key away, she reached into her other pocket and took something out.
He took Tina's hand and put the thing in her palm. Thanks. Then, after saying thank you quietly, he left. Well. Tina didn't have time to say anything to her before she left.
She looked at the palm of her hand and found that what Bella had just given her was actually a lollipop. She knew that it was not difficult to make friends with Bella, but she couldn't rush.
Bella is just like Jo Hong. She is very cold towards people she doesn't know well. She may even reply word by word.
But once you get to know them, you'll find that they are very nice people. Tina raised her eyes slightly, smiled, put the lollipop into her pocket, and turned back to the classroom.
Chapter 22. If it were someone else, I wouldn't dare to do it.
There was still some time before class started. Kelly looked at Tina, asking her to go and tell Jo Hong. Tina saw that there was no one around Jo Hong, so she stood up and walked towards him. As the class monitor, she is very popular and no one in the class will gossip about her.
Except for one person. Lu Yunhua was sitting in his seat.
When he saw Tina walking towards Jo Hong, his heart tightened. He was a little scared when he saw how popular Jo Hong was early in the morning.
He was afraid to see Tina beside Jo Hong. Fortunately, it seems that Tina didn't get too close to Jo Hong.
If he saw Tina and Jo Hong walking close to each other, even side by side, he would be heartbroken. He was originally feeling relieved, but now he saw Tina walking towards Jo Hong.
If he just sits here and does nothing, then he will have no chance? Tina came to Jo Hong and whispered. Jo Hong, I have something to tell you. Jo Hong raised his head, glanced at Tina, and then responded calmly, "Speak."
He was already annoyed by the hassle early in the morning, and this was not him pretending to be cool.
Who told me that these people were the ones who had been laughing at me for 2 years? When I wanted to get along well with them before, I made myself a laughingstock. Now I want some quiet time to study hard and catch up on my progress, but this group of people came over instead. He was still feeling a bit irritated, and when he looked up and saw that it was Tina. If it were someone else, he really wouldn't bother with it. Cough, cough. Tina, I don't know how to solve a problem. Can you teach me?
At this time, Lu Yunchua suddenly ran over with a workbook and stopped her from talking.
Tina was stunned for a moment, her thoughts were completely disrupted, and she looked at Lu Yunchua blankly. Although I usually have a lot of people who come to me to ask questions because I am easy to talk to and have good grades. But at least it depends on the time. Are you talking to someone right now? What I want to say is a very sensitive topic. For Kelly's sake, I can't let others know. How do I start now? You are talking to Jo Hong. It's okay, you go first, I'm not in a hurry.
Lu Yunchua tried to make up for it, pretending not to disturb their conversation, but he did not step back, but stood aside.
He just needs to listen here. See what Tina has to say. This way he will feel at ease. Well, can you, tisk? Tina looked embarrassed and couldn't say anything. If I tell it out loud and Lu Yunchua hears it, it will definitely spread. Kelly would be embarrassed and Jo Hang would be in a difficult position.
She knew very well that Jo Hong did not want to be made a laughingstock or be discussed by others. Therefore, Lu Yunchua must not hear about this matter. But she was too embarrassed to ask Lu Yunchua to step aside, as it would seem that she was about to say something shameful, which would be spread as a strange thing.
Tina, who looked embarrassed, and then looked at Lu Yunchua, who refused to give in.
The next second, he suddenly stood up and grabbed Tina's wrist with one hand. Under Lu Yunchua's wide-eyed gaze, Jo Hong took Tina out of the classroom.
Well, Tina was completely confused.
The feeling of being held by Jo Hong was just like the feeling of being dragged home by him in the heavy rain that day.
Kelly had been observing the situation secretly.
After seeing this scene, he opened his mouth wide, his eyes full of disbelief. Lu Yunchua was stunned, his mouth twitched, and his eyebrows twitched wildly.
Tina away in front of him?
At this time, Jo Hong brought Tina to the stairs, where no one passed by. Jo Hong loosened his hand, looked at Tina in front of him, and said,
"Okay, go ahead." You. What's wrong? Aren't you afraid that others will spread gossip? They will misunderstand you. Tina lowered her head and whispered.
When she thought of Jo Hong pulling her out of the classroom just now, her heart started beating faster. Jo Hong closed his eyes and spoke slowly. "Are you asking a person who has been ridiculed for 2 years if he is afraid of gossip?
Should I be afraid? No. As for you, if you are worried about being misunderstood, I will go back and explain to them later." Tina waved her hands and explained, "Oh no, I'm even less afraid." She knew her current situation. She was already single and was not afraid of being ruined, so how could she be afraid of gossip? That's it. Well, say what you want to say. Class is about to start. Well, I'm just a messenger. It's Tong Tong. She wants to talk to you alone. She wants you to meet her at noon, right here. I refuse. Tell her there's nothing to talk about. Jo Hong directly shook his head and refused without even thinking about it. Tina had already anticipated this result. Or rather, based on her understanding of Jo Hong, this was the most likely thing to happen. Are you really not going to talk to her? Maybe, after the chat, she will be with you. Then I can't talk to her anymore. Think about it yourself. I pursued her for 2 years, but she didn't agree. Now I don't pursue her anymore. It's only been 3 days. If she wants to talk, should I turn back? Then I'm pretty worthless. That's true, okay, I'll tell her. Um,
After the two finished talking, they left here and returned to the classroom. As soon as he got back, Jo Hang felt someone was staring at him, but he didn't care at all and went back to his seat. Bella tapped the table with her pen, and after Jo Hang sat down, she asked,
when did you become so close to the monitor? How do you know it's good? Can you just grab someone's wrist and run away? Aren't you afraid that they'll slap you and call you a hooligan?
Jo Hang glanced at her and said,
You think too much. I know she is a good person and would not do that, so I dare to do this. If it were someone else, I would not dare to do it. Fine.
Bella believed Jo Hang's words. As for what he and Tina had just talked about, she didn't ask, nor did she want to ask. Although she knew that if she asked, Jo Hang would definitely tell her.
Some people don't want to know, but some people want to know so much that they are going crazy.
Lu Yunhua felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He felt like ants were crawling on his body.
He really wanted to know what Jo Hang and Tina were talking about.
But I couldn't follow him out just now, because that would make my intentions too obvious and he would dislike me. What made him most uncomfortable was that when Jo Hang pulled Tina's wrist and went out, Tina did not resist but accepted it instead.
Kelly was another witness.
Although she was shocked by Jo Hang's behavior, she also knew what the two of them had been talking about. So now she is particularly looking forward to Tina bringing her good news.
Chapter 23. If she participates, then I will participate, okay?
Soon the class started, and when it was over, Kelly couldn't wait to come to Tina.
Ran. How is it? She asked in a low voice, her voice and eyes full of expectation.
But when she saw that Tina's expression was not right, her heart skipped a beat.
Well, Tong, you should give up Jo Hang. Didn't you say it yourself that you are not suitable for him? He refused, didn't he?
Kelly lowered her eyes sadly, and felt her eye sockets tighten, as if she was about to cry. She didn't feel wronged, she just felt that it was all her own fault. After all, she didn't miss it, but was right in front of her, and she ignored it for 2 years.
It seemed like fate was playing a trick on her.
She hadn't liked him for 2 years, but just a few days after he stopped liking her, she started to be interested in him.
Tina didn't know how to comfort her, so she shook her head gently and said, It doesn't matter. You're so pretty. When you get to college, there will be a lot of people who like you. You're already in your 3rd year of high school. Even if you really get together with Jo Hang, your grades may not allow you to go to the same university. It will be even more painful to be in a long-distance relationship then. Kelly didn't know what to do, so she could only listen to Tina's words of comfort. What else could she do? Should she shamelessly beg Jo Hang to come back? Just now, she was still thinking about what to say to Jo Hang at noon. But now, all those thoughts are useless, because people are not willing to talk to me at all. What happened? Tian Run came to the two of them, and seeing that Kelly's face looked a little strange, he asked in confusion. But Tina gently pulled Tian Run's hand, signaling her not to ask any more questions. Tian Run also obediently shut her mouth, but since it was Kelly's business, she also had some ideas. Maybe it has something to do with Jo Hang? At noon, it was time to eat. Tina happily took out the lunchbox Jo Hang had prepared. She didn't really look forward to lunch before because she ate very little and even felt that eating was a waste of time. But now, she feels that what she looks forward to most is mealtime. When the lunch break was almost over, most of the classmates had returned. At this time, the head teacher came in and stood on the podium. Come on, let me tell you 2 things. The head teacher's voice made the students who were resting immediately raise their heads. The first thing is that we have a monthly exam next Tuesday. Everyone should study hard and strive to get a good score. The second thing is, at the end of the month, there will be our school sports meet. This will be your last sports meet in high school. Oh. When the students heard about the sports meeting, they made excited noises. For them, the pressure of study in life is too great, and the 2-day sports meeting is undoubtedly the best time for them to relax and have fun. Here are all the events for the sports meet. You can sign up voluntarily. There will also be performances at the opening ceremony. This time, it's entirely up to you to discuss and decide on your own. Class monitor, sports committee member, these two things are left to you to take charge of. The head teacher handed all the forms to Tina, who was sitting in the front, and then left the classroom. The next second, a group of people gathered around, ready to join in the fun. Of course, there is also Lu Yunhua. After all, he is the sports committee member. When he heard that he could be responsible for this matter together with Tina, he immediately became excited. People around were talking at once, making Tina's ears buzz. The class was in chaos. Okay. Tina quickly stopped the people around her, looked at them, and said, "The sports meet is at the end of the month, so there's plenty of time. What's more important right now is the monthly exam next Tuesday. Those who want to sign up can do so, and the rest of you can focus on reviewing. We can talk about the opening ceremony performance after the exam is over." Hearing Tina say this, Lu Yunhua also quickly supported her and echoed, "Yes, listen to the monitor. Go back and come to me if you want to sign up for a project." Bella was awakened by the sound. She raised her head, sleepily looking at Jo Hung beside her, and asked, "What's up?" "Monthly exam next Tuesday, sports meet at the end of the month." Bella yawned and said, "Oh. Can I take a leave for the sports meeting? We can just go out and surf the internet, otherwise it will be too boring." "I guess not. Compared to the sports meet, I'm still worried about what to do with the monthly exam." Jo Hong covered his head with his hands. He was beginning to feel overwhelmed. The value of being ranked in the top 200 in the grade was really high. Jo Hong has no confidence at all that his ranking will rise by 50 places this time. "Do you want me to come to your place and give you some tutoring on the weekend?" "No, I can't keep up with your thinking." Jo Hong thought that even when Tina was explaining the topic, it took him a long time to understand it. "Let Bella explain the problem to me? She is not good at teaching others. She can only give me an answer and then let me figure it out." "Well, then it seems you can't go out to play tonight?" "I was thinking that we would go to the internet cafe to play for a while after school because we have activities today." "Forget it, go home and play at home. I really don't have time to play. Then I'll log into your account and help you complete the task." "Okay." After school in the evening, Jo Han left the school and prepared to go home. Tina was not in a hurry to follow him, because she knew where Jo Heng's home was. She went home from school with Kelly and Tian Run. After chatting for a while, she said goodbye to them on the way and returned to Jo Heng's house alone. After knocking on the door and entering, I found Jo Hong was already cooking dinner. When the two of them were having dinner together, Tina wanted to find a topic, so she asked, "Sports meet, are you interested? You're such a good athlete, why don't you sign up for an event?" Tina recalled that Jo Hong had not participated in the sports meet in the past 2 years, and she did not know that he was good at sports at that time. Now that she knew this, she certainly didn't want to miss out on this talented Jo Hang. If she let him play, he would definitely win a few gold medals. Jo Hong shook his head and said, "Not interested." "What about Bella? Do you think she'd be willing to participate?" Tina did not give up. She thought of Bella. After all, Bella was comparable to Jo Hong in sports. She would have no problem participating in the women's competition. Her? It's good enough that she didn't pretend to be sick and ask for leave that day. You still want her to sign up for the project? Impossible. Tina became interested, raised her eyebrows, and asked, "Oh? How is it impossible?" "Well, I can make a bet with you. If she participates, then I will participate, okay?" "Okay, it's a deal." Tina didn't know if she could persuade Bella, but if she did, she would get Jo Hang as a gift, which would give her 2 more generals. Why worry about not winning? So she agreed without thinking. Chapter 24. I'll go next week, next weekend. After dinner, Jo Hong and Tina studied at the table.
Jo Hong was racing against time.
With Tina's help, he won't get stuck anywhere and his learning efficiency is very high. Tina checked the time and looked at Jo Hang's profile, seeming to be hesitant to speak.
After hesitating for a few seconds, she slowly opened her mouth and asked softly.
Can I take a shower? Of course, just wash it off. Jo Hang couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Just go and take a shower. Why are you asking yourself this? Course, Tina had to ask, could she really treat this place as her own home? Would she go take a shower without asking the owner? Well. Okay, I'll go then. Tina slowly got up and went to the bathroom.
It was her first time taking a bath at Jo Hang's house, and she was a little nervous. She prepared everything and brought a change of clothes with her, in case she was left with something and couldn't ask Jo Hang to deliver it. She locked the bathroom door and looked at Jo Hang's bathing supplies. Although she bought toiletries, she only bought a toothbrush and a towel, and didn't buy shampoo or shower gel. Since I want to take a shower, I must borrow Jo Hang's things. She opened the bathroom door, poked her head out of the bathroom, looked at Jo Hang at the table, and asked in a low voice. Can I use your shampoo and body wash? Can. Jo Hang responded to her without looking up. This was no big deal for him. After getting permission, Tina closed the door. After a while, the sound of water came from the bathroom. Although the door was locked, Tina's heart still beat fast when she thought of Jo Hang sitting outside. She used Jo Hang's shower gel, slid it across her skin, and the scent she smelled was the same as when she was lying in bed. After taking a shower, she dried her hair in the bathroom and walked out of it. She found Jo Hang still sitting there studying, his movements hadn't changed. She felt that Jo Hang was working too hard. If he continued like this, he would probably get tired. After all, learning is not something that can be done overnight. It is important to combine work and rest. I see there is a computer in your room, don't you usually play with it? Play, we have an exam soon, there is no time to play. Bella as soon as he got home. As a result, his studies were not affected. After all, he had a smart brain. He could learn everything in class and play with himself when he got home. I was ranked in the top 200, and she played with me every day, and we often went to the internet cafe together. She was in the top 20 in the grade. Even though I guided her in playing games like this, she was still able to rank so high. I really have no way to stop her. I can neither beat her nor hold her back. You can actually play for a while. There's no need to study all the time. It'll make you tired. Why don't you take a break and play for a while? Tina knew that she could not persuade Jo Hang. Jo Hang's stubbornness was beyond her reach. But after she finished speaking, Jo Hang hesitated and stopped writing. He raised his head, looked at Tina, and asked tentatively, Really? Are you really okay? Of course. You've been studying for so long, it's time to play for a while. This is to relax and to learn better. Well, I'll listen to you, ahem, just play for a while. Jo Hang stood up and went to the room. He hadn't played games since that day when he went to the internet cafe with Bella. Every day, he listened to Bella talk about games, and he was so excited. Now that Tina said it was okay to play for a while, of course he listened to her advice. What can be wrong if I'm the first in the class and in the top 5 in the grade? It can't be wrong. Well, Tina was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect that Jo Hang would actually listen to her? Or does he really want to play computer games? Because she had never seen Jo Hang use the computer before, she thought he didn't play with it usually. Tina followed him into the room and saw Jo Hang already sitting in front of the computer, turning it on. She sat on the bed, wanting to see what game Jo Hang was playing. As a result, he couldn't understand the game he opened. Jo Hang seemed to have opened a chat box with someone and typed a few words. Then I saw him put his headphones on the table and turned the volume up to maximum. Hello? Can you hear me? Exclamation point. Tina was a little surprised. The voice she heard coming from the headphones was Bella.
Ah, I can hear you. Why are you online today? Aren't you in a hurry to study? Work and rest together. Well, come and help me with a task. I'll team you up. Tina watched quietly from the side.
Seeing Jo Hong was so engrossed in the game, she didn't dare to make a sound for fear of being heard by Bella on the other side of the headphones.
Oh, Mom. What are you doing? At this moment, Tina suddenly heard Bella's voice coming from the headphones, and she called Mom.
Then, the voice on the other end of the headset changed, and became a woman's voice.
Is it Xiao Hong?
After hearing this, Jo Hong opened his eyes, raised his brows, and quickly replied.
Ah, yes, Aunt, I am Xiao Hong.
Jo Hong's voice was very soft and cautious. It was the first time Tina heard Jo Hong speak like this. It feels like I have gotten to know another side of Jo Hong, which is really interesting. Look, the voice I heard just now sounded like yours.
When are you coming here? Your uncle and I miss you. Come here and your aunt will make you something delicious.
The woman's voice was very gentle and soft, and her tone was like that of Jo Hong's mother.
Ah, Auntie, I'll go next weekend. Okay, it's settled. I'll go shopping next weekend. Don't miss me, XL. Okay, I'll definitely go.
Tina listened from the side, and a trace of envy appeared in her eyes.
This is what it feels like to have family, someone who is considerate and caring.
Even if you live alone here, there are people who miss you. Unlike herself, when she thought about what happened to her a while ago, she felt so distressed that her heart was torn apart. Tina lowered her head, her long hair falling in front of her chest, revealing a beautiful and slender neck. My heart felt like it was being cut by a knife, and it felt hot.
My eyes were immediately covered by something like a mist. Jo Hong glanced and saw Tina's condition at the moment. After a while, he said into the headset, "Okay, I'm off." "Okay, bye-bye.
Then, Jo Hong closed the game and turned off the computer.
Tina quickly turned her head away, not wanting Jo Hong to see her current state.
Although she has moved on, she still cries when she thinks about the past.
What can she do?
She is just a girl who has just come of age. After Jo Hong turned off the computer, he looked at her and said softly,
"I think you need to talk to me." Chapter 25. The term keeping a mistress is not quite accurate. What are you talking about?
Tina opened her mouth. She couldn't hold back her tears and her nose felt sore, so her voice was muffled.
Of course, let's talk about you.
I think there are a lot of things you haven't explained clearly, such as, why don't you have a place to live?
He didn't ask because he was afraid of touching Tina's pain point.
Today he felt that he should let Tina speak out.
At least someone would listen and she would feel better.
Otherwise you will always bear the sadness and pain alone, and no one will understand or comprehend these things.
I don't want to say.
Tina lowered her head, tears kept falling, and she sobbed softly. She had already put these things aside and decided not to mention them again. Today, she was just reminded of the past. If she could forget these things forever, she would do so without hesitation.
Jo Hong seemed to have guessed that Tina didn't want to say it. He stood up and walked to the bedside.
Then he reached out and gently placed his hand on Tina's shoulder.
You want to move on, right? Then you must speak up. Why bear the sadness alone? You can tell me anytime. At least someone will understand your feelings.
Tina raised her head, tears still hanging in the corners of her eyes, but when she saw Jo Hong's eyes, somehow, her sadness was relieved by half. I have no place to live, because I no longer have a home. That home does not belong to me, and I cannot live there.
Who does it belong to? Jo Hong was a little puzzled.
It seemed that there was something unspeakable hidden in this. He took some tissues and asked Tina to wipe her tears first. After her emotions calmed down a lot, she slowly spoke.
My family is remarried. My mother brought me here.
My father also has a child, but the child is with his ex-wife. After they passed away, my father's ex-wife took over the house with his son, because her name was on the property certificate and she was a co-owner. When they divorced, she didn't ask for the house, but now they are here to take it back. I have no way to stop them, so I have no place to live. Joe Hang's eyebrows were almost twisted together, and his face looked very ugly.
Taking advantage of someone's misfortune? Is there anyone who is so excessive? Doesn't she intend to give you some compensation? Tina shook her head in disappointment. Jo Hung also felt that it was meaningless to ask this question. If she could take advantage of someone's misfortune, how could she have a change of heart? My mom and dad remarried, but my relatives didn't agree. So until now, no relatives are willing to take care of me. Behind my back, they all call me a wild child. What about your biological father? I can't find him. I don't have any contact information. I haven't seen him for many years. Even if I saw him, he wouldn't care about me.
Tina said it. It was obvious that she was much more stable. Perhaps it was because she had been holding these words in her heart for so long that she could not bear it.
But if you talk about it, it will be much easier. Jo Hung nodded silently, thinking he understood Tina's thoughts.
He really didn't expect that Tina still had such pressure in life. He originally thought that Tina had been unable to get over it, often shed tears, and was unable to face reality. She was still a little short of being strong in her heart. But now he has changed his mind and changed his opinion of Tina. After all these things, these experiences, in the heavy rain with nowhere to go, and even the possibility of not surviving the next day. She was just crying, just using this way to relieve her stress and sadness. No revenge on society, no self-destruction, no suicide.
Now I can even go to school normally and see smiling faces.
Jo Hang felt that she was strong enough, so strong that she impressed him and admired her very much. Thinking of this, Jo Hung had already made up his mind. Since God had arranged for him to help Tina, we certainly can't let her stagnate or lose all her previous efforts. Such an excellent girl will definitely have a bright future, at least more promising than herself. She shouldn't let these external factors block her future.
That's a pity. Even he feels it's a pity.
Jo Hung patted Tina on the shoulder and said,
"Don't worry about anything. You don't have to worry about anything. I've taken care of your food and accommodation. You don't have to worry about living expenses. I'll give it to you until you can earn enough money to support yourself. Just study and live a good life. That's all."
Tina raised her head, her eyes instantly filled with shock, her whole face was filled with disbelief, her mouth opened blankly, unable to close. I can't bear to see such a good student being crushed by life.
Don't worry, my family, is quite well off. They give me a lot of living expenses every month.
If you play games, you can tell by looking at my equipment in the game. I'll give you half of my living expenses every month.
Tina quickly waved her hand and refused. No, no, no. How can that be? We are just classmates. I can't bear to do this to me.
She couldn't believe that Jo Hang would make such a promise to her. They were just high school classmates, and they were barely familiar with each other after 2 years in school.
Now Jo Hung can say that he wants to provide for himself? Okay, stop being stubborn with me. You know you can't be more stubborn than me. My biggest weakness is stubbornness. Tina knew this fact and she could not argue with Jo Hang. And now that I am living under someone else's roof, the first thing I have to do is to obey the owner of this house. She lowered her head, her voice as small as a mosquito. Then, what do you need me to do? Do what? Well, after a man supports a woman, don't they all do something? Tina knew that if she accepted the offer, she would have to pay the corresponding price.
When she said this, her face instantly turned red to her ears, and she didn't dare to look Jo Hung in the eye.
Jo Hung touched his chin and said calmly,
"The term keeping a mistress is not quite accurate, but I do need you to do something."
You said.
Tina's face was about to bleed, and she was shaking like a frightened deer, but she still managed to make a sound from her throat.
Now, this opportunity is rare for her. She must survive before she can think about other things, such as study, dignity, and even her body. If it were someone else, she might have refused without even thinking about it. But the other person was Jo Hang, and she accepted it calmly in her heart. Jo Hong nodded and said, "Well, my family said that if my ranking doesn't rise by 50 places in this monthly exam, my living expenses will be deducted. So for the sake of our living expenses, you should help me review and try to help me improve my grades before the monthly exam." Chapter 26. How does it feel to live in Jo Hang's house? Ah!
Kelly woke up from her dream, sat up suddenly, and felt cold sweat all over her body. It was already late at night, and the room was extremely quiet, with only the ticking of the clock.
Hoo!
Kelly gasped for air, trying to regulate her breathing and get her heartbeat back to normal. After she recovered, she quickly picked up the phone beside the bed, opened it and took a look, but found that there was no message.
Dream is a dream.
She put down her phone, still recalling the dream she had just had. I don't know if it's because she was thinking about it before going to sleep, but the dream she had was about Jo Hong. In the dream, he recalled everything about their acquaintance and understanding of each other, as well as some things that did not exist. They were even together in their dreams, chatting a lot on the phone every day, and their relationship was getting better day by day.
But the good times didn't last long. Someone appeared between them and destroyed their relationship. This person is Bella.
That's why she woke up suddenly. She had already decided to give up Jo Hong, but now, after having this dream, Kelly didn't know why, but she missed Jo Hong very much at this moment.
Can't wait to see him. In the end, you still can't let him go?
Kelly looked at the chat history on her phone and found that she had not received any reply to the message she had sent. My request to talk to him was also rejected. But even so, after having this dream, she doesn't want to give up now. I have even made up my mind to work hard before graduation.
Isn't it just pursuing someone? Didn't Jo Hong pursue me for 2 years and never gave up? Then what's wrong with me pursuing him? If I'm made a laughingstock, that's fine. I don't care anymore.
She thought about it calmly and decided that at the moment, her biggest enemy was Bella, Jo Hang's deskmate. The relationship between the two of them was so good that she was puzzled. It seemed that their personalities and temperaments were very similar. It made her feel that maybe the two of them would be together in the next second. So the first love rival, the most dangerous one, must be Bella, there is no doubt about that. Danger index 5 stars. As for the second one, it should be the other girls in the class. They also seem to be very interested in Jo Hong, so we have to be on guard. Danger index 3 stars. Third, let's rank Tian Run. After all, she said she wanted to confess her love to Jo Hong when she was in school. Although it was probably a joke, what if there was a very small chance that it would become true? The danger index was half a star. These are the 3 obstacles. She had to ask for help now, so in her mind, Tina, who had a danger index of 0 and could not be an enemy, naturally became the first choice. If she needs advice now, she can only turn to Tina. Not even Tian Run. Ran. I'm counting on you now. Kelly prayed to herself and then lay down to continue sleeping. In order to be in the best condition, sufficient sleep is necessary. The next morning, Jo Hong and Tina left home and prepared to go to school. Jo Hong saw that Tina's condition today was very different from yesterday. It felt like a lot of pressure was released. I looked particularly relaxed, with a faint smile on my face. Today is Saturday, school is over in the afternoon and we have a day off tomorrow. These 2 days are very important. Please help me review. Tina turned her head and looked at Jo Hong, nodded heavily, and agreed softly, okay. In the past, when they went to school in the morning, they kept their distance from each other. Tina did this on purpose. It seemed like he was afraid that Kelly would see it and become suspicious. But this morning, Tina followed Jo Hong, neither hurried nor slow. Jo Hong glanced at her and asked,
Aren't you afraid that others will see us going to school together? Don't be afraid. What's wrong with going to school together as classmates? Yeah, that's true. The two walked into the school together. At this time, they saw a familiar figure in front of them. After seeing that person, Tina's eyes lit up instantly. Is it Bella? Yeah.
Jo Hong recognized at a glance that the figure walking in front was Bella.
Well, I'll go talk to her, okay? Sure.
After getting permission, Tina chased after Bella with great interest.
She didn't forget Jo Hang's promise yesterday that if Bella could participate in the sports meet, he would participate.
Since Jo Hong dared to make the bet, it proved that no matter how much he tried to persuade her, it was useless.
Bella would definitely reject him mercilessly.
Maybe it will leave a bad impression on her and make her feel annoying. So she must have used some tricks to get the two generals Jo Hong and Bella into her pocket.
Tina ran to Bella and greeted her, "Hi." Bella was blowing a bubblegum at the time, and she blew it up to the size of a fist.
As a result, Tina's shout scared her, and the bubblegum broke with a pop and stuck to the corner of her mouth.
Ah, sorry. Fine.
Bella responded indifferently, then took out the bubblegum wrapper, spit out the candy in her mouth, wrapped it up, and put it in her pocket. Tina was about to say something. Bella suddenly came close to Tina, making her nervous and forgetting what she was going to say.
Bella was only one step away from Tina.
She leaned over and sniffed Tina's body, then her hair. After frowning slightly, she smiled knowingly.
Tina felt a little creepy when she saw this smile.
She forced a smile, pretended to be calm, and asked,
what happened? How does it feel to live in Jo Hang's house? I still feel. Tina's eyes widened in horror, and her mind went blank. Her face first turned pale, then turned extremely red. How do you know that I live in Jo Hang's house? Guess. Guessed? Can you guess so accurately? Yes, the smell on you is the same as Jo Hang's.
They used the same shower gel. As far as I know, it's men's shower gel.
I'm his desk mate and I'm the closest to him. I can smell it.
I thought it was a coincidence, but your hair smells the same as his.
You used the same shampoo? This can't be a coincidence. You must have taken a shower at his house. Did you take a shower the first time you went there? Are you in that kind of relationship?
I think it's definitely not, at least he definitely isn't, so I conclude that you must be living at his house.
Chapter 27. Unless you plan to be with her in the future. Just like that, you guessed it? How can you be sure? What if it's really just a coincidence? Then I'll apologize to you. What's the big deal? I'm not Conan. It's normal for me to make mistakes in my reasoning. Besides, even if I was lying to you, didn't you admit it?
Bella had a meaningful smile on her face and shrugged, looking a little proud. It was like a child who had successfully played a prank. Tina immediately closed her mouth, her face turned pale and red, which was very interesting. It was the first time for her to truly feel what it felt like to be bullied on the basis of intelligence. She realized that Jo Hong might be right. If she stayed with Bella for too long, her self-confidence would probably be undermined. For a moment, Tina threw away all the words she had prepared. Bella would definitely see through her, and she might even be tricked. But Bella didn't intend to let Tina go. She reached out and grabbed Tina's wrist. Tina looked up and saw Bella showing a sly smile and whispered, "Okay, you should tell me why you live in Jo Hang's house? I guess you also know the relationship between Jo Hang and me, right?" Later, on the way to the classroom, Tina told Bella about how she met Jo Hong and stayed at his house.
But she didn't mention what happened last night.
She just said that she was staying at Jo Hang's house temporarily. After hearing Tina's tragic experience, Bella also showed a serious face, and the teasing expression just now did not appear.
I see. Well, my condolences. Bella patted Tina's shoulder gently without saying anything to comfort her. Tina also understood, after all, she was very similar to Jo Hung in this respect. After entering the classroom, the two returned to their seats. When Jo Hung came to his seat, he saw that Bella's face looked a little strange, so he asked him, "What's wrong?" Bella glanced at Jo Hung and said softly, "I was wondering why you didn't have time to play games with me." "So you have a beautiful girl hidden in your house?" Jo Hung frowned slightly, and in just a few seconds, he figured out what was going on. He also knew that he couldn't keep this from Bella for long, and she would find out sooner or later. "Sorry, I don't take sarcasm." Bella raised her lips slightly and said, Okay. Otherwise, I didn't mean to mock you. I heard about the squad leader's incident, and I agree with your approach." Jo Hung stared at Bella for a few seconds, then slowly said, "Do you agree? If it were you, you wouldn't do it like me, right?" "Yes, that's very much your style, and I agree, but I won't do it unless." "Unless what?" "Unless you plan to be with her in the future." Bella's words, but turned to look in Tina's direction. At this moment, Tina turned to look at Jo Hang. After the two looked at each other, Tina smiled faintly. After just a few seconds, she turned her head away. Jo Hang's teeth were grinding in his mouth, his eyes were deep, as if he was thinking about something. The next second, he said, "So I am me and you are you, we are different. Of course, there is no standard to judge right or wrong, you just have to do what you think is right." Bella leaned back in her chair and nodded, agreeing with Jo Hang's words, and then added, "But I do like her. She seems silly and cute, and it's fun to tease her." "Yeah, to you, everyone is stupid. By the way, you too, bro. That's good of you. Don't do it next time. And don't call me by my name, or I'll get goosebumps. Too much." Jo Hang and Bella looked at each other, and Bella just chuckled. Jo Hang's eyes curved slightly, as if hiding a smile, and he cursed without any anger, "Psycho." After class, Tina walked out of the classroom alone and prepared to go to the office to ask about the monthly exam next Tuesday. When Tina walked out of the office, she found someone waiting for her at the door. "Tong Tong, what are you doing here?" "Wait for you." Kelly saw Tina walking out of the classroom alone, so she followed her out. When she saw her enter the office, she waited outside. "Wait for me? What's wrong? Is there something wrong?" Seeing that she seemed to want to say something, Tina spoke directly. "Well, let's talk while we walk." The two walked slowly in the corridor. Kelly thought of her firm belief last night and said, Ran, I don't plan to give up Jo Hang, I want to try to pursue him." "Is that so? Okay, you try it." Kelly didn't expect Tina to agree with her so readily. She thought Tina would talk her out of it. "Really? You agree? Do you think I can do it?" "I don't know about that, but it's normal for you to want to give it a try. It's better to just give it a try than to have regrets later." "Well, you're right." Kelly got Tina's support and immediately felt more confident. After all, if she didn't get understanding and support, she would have no confidence. "You'll help me, right?" This. Tina was stunned. She didn't want to get involved, but seeing Kelly's expectant eyes, she couldn't bear to refuse. Okay, but how can I help you? Didn't I talk to him on your behalf before, but failed?" Kelly fell into deep thought, as if she was really thinking about how to get Tina to help her. Tina showed a somewhat awkward expression, because she knew Jo Hang would never give Kelly another chance no matter what. Even if there is a very small probability, it is of no reference value. Because she is his friend, he has been helping her repeatedly and pestering Jo Hang. What if Jo Hang hates him? Jo Hang had said before that if he acted as a matchmaker, he would end up like Kelly and he would never bother with him again. You must maintain the relationship on both sides and take good care of both sides. On one side is my good friend, on the other side is my. To be honest, Tina still doesn't know what the relationship between her and Jo Hang is. Are they classmates? Are they friends? Or are they roommates? Correct. Kelly nodded, then looked at Tina and said seriously. Help me hold Bella back. How about that? Huh? Why do you want to hold Bella back? I feel like she's my worst enemy. All you have to do is get as close to her as possible and distract her. That should be easy for you, right? No, it's not simple at all. Chapter 28. But I can see that you are interested in him. After Jo Hong finished his lunch at noon, he went to the toilet. Although he did not observe any specific things during the morning. But if you accidentally glance at Kelly, you can see her peeking at you. Now he is a little uncomfortable. He feels uncomfortable in class and always feels like there is something on his face. Jo Hong turned around and was about to leave the toilet when he saw a person behind him. He was startled. Oh my God! Jo Hong couldn't help but curse, and when he looked closely, he found that the person behind him was Kong Yu, the disgusting guy who wanted to pursue Bella before. At this moment, he was standing behind him with a flattering expression on his face. This was also a toilet, and Jo Hong felt somewhat physically uncomfortable seeing him. Brother Zhou. What? I have something I want to discuss with you. What? Jo Hang's eyebrows slightly frowned. Although he didn't have a good impression of Kong Yu, after all, he had caused trouble for him before. But he had apologized, and it was not right for him to be aggressive. Now he wants to discuss something with me, probably about pursuing Bella again, right? Well, I have given up pursuing Bella. I found that the gap between her and me is too big. There is no chance at all. Wise choice. Jo Hong nodded, agreeing with his idea. After all, what he said was not wrong. At least there was no chance that this was true. But since it's not about pursuing Bella, what else is there to discuss with myself? So, I want to chase after someone else, and I want to ask for your consent. Ask for my consent? What do you mean? You can chase whoever you want, it's none of my business. Just don't chase me. It's being said in class that you don't like Kelly anymore. I came here to ask you for confirmation. If you don't want to pursue her anymore. Can I pursue her then? Kong Yu said it tremblingly, and then immediately covered his head and added. Don't be angry, I'm just asking. Jo Hong was silent for a few seconds, then walked past him and said lightly. Just chase me, don't ask me, it has nothing to do with me. Kong Yu looked at Jo Hang's back as he left, with a look of surprise and bewilderment on his face. To be honest, he was ready to be taught a lesson by Jo Hang. Jo Hong had been pursuing Kelly for 2 years, and he couldn't believe that Jo Hang would give up. But the rumors in the class were so true that he had to believe them, so he mustered up the courage to ask Jo Hang. I really didn't expect that Jo Hang actually stopped pursuing her. There are quite a few pretty girls in their class, but there are only a few who are generally considered pretty by the boys. Tina is one, Bella is another, and the other one is Kelly. Kong Yu knew that he could never pursue Tina. If he did, he would be criticized by the whole class, saying that he was a toad wanting to eat swan meat. Who is most likely to catch up with Tina now is only Lu Yunchua. That's why he wanted to pursue Bella, but now he found out that Bella has no chance. Now the whole class is saying that Jo Hang is the only one who has the greatest chance of being with Bella, and the others probably have no chance. The two of them have a close relationship, which everyone else has seen, so there is no need to doubt it. In this case, Kong Yu thought of Kelly. Since Jo Hong might be with Bella, does that mean Kelly's position is vacant? So can you try it yourself? Now that he has Jo Hang's consent, Kong Yu feels that he still has a good chance. Oh yeah. Come on. You can do it. Kong Yu jumped up and down, cheering himself up, as if he had already succeeded. At this time, a teacher who came to the toilet happened to look at Kong Yu in front of him. His eyes were as if he was looking at a fool. Embarrassed, Kong Yu left immediately. When Jo Hong was about to return to the classroom,
he suddenly heard a weak call from behind.
Jo Hung. Jo Hong looked back and saw the person behind him, and couldn't help but frown.
In fact, he didn't even need to look back to hear who was behind him. Kelly, she used to be my classmate in school, but she always pretended not to know me.
It almost never happens that someone calls his name in the corridor like this.
She seemed to want to say something to Jo Hong, but was too embarrassed to say it out loud.
She was hesitant and didn't dare to look Jo Hong in the eye.
At noon, she saw Jo Hong walk out of the classroom and separate from Bella, and she knew this was her chance. So she took action and made sure to contact Jo Hong while he was still outside the classroom. So at this moment, Tina is in the classroom, restraining Bella according to the plan.
Tina sat in Jo Hong's seat, looking at Bella beside her, hesitant to speak. Bella put down the pen in her hand, raised her head and asked, "What?" Bella, do you often play games with Jo Hong? Bella was stunned for a moment, then nodded and replied, "Yeah, what's wrong? Are you jealous? Are you jealous of his relatives?" No.
What are you jealous of?
What am I jealous of? Tina panicked and started to explain quickly, a hint of panic flashing across her black eyes.
Bella suddenly moved her head closer and stared at Tina's flustered eyes with a serious look.
What happened? Tina became even more nervous when being stared at.
It was as if those eyes could see through her heart.
In an instant, her ears turned red.
A few seconds later, Bella pulled back, turned her head, and chuckled.
"It's okay, I was just kidding." Open. Tina's expression froze instantly, and she felt like her heart was about to stop. At this moment, Tina really wanted to say to Kelly, "Why don't you try to hold Bella back? See if you can hold her back?
It would be good enough if I could stay here for a while and not get killed by her."
But
Bella suddenly showed an unusually serious expression, lowered her head, lowered her voice, and said to Tina, "Jo Hong said that he is interested in someone again, someone from our class."
"Do you want to know who it is?" "Who is it?" Tina widened her eyes in disbelief.
Bella smacked her lips, shook her head and said, "Tisk, no, let's not talk about it.
He told me not to tell anyone else.
He'll be mad if I tell him." Tina bit her lip lightly, hesitated for a moment, and said, I promise not to tell anyone."
Bella thought for a while, then nodded and said, "Okay." Bella waved her hand, signaling Tina to come closer. Tina put her ear close to her. Bella whispered in Tina's ear, "I don't know who he is interested in, but I can see that you are interested in him." Chapter 29. I just did someone a favor, and I owed her that.
Tina lay on Jo Hong's desk, her whole face buried, her 2 ears sticking out, very red, her 2 feet rubbing on the floor. Bella laughed until she cried, then she stopped laughing, reached out her hand and gently patted Tina's shoulder, saying,
Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. It's just that, you're so funny, I couldn't help it." "Well."
Tina shrugged her shoulders slightly, as if resisting Bella's apology. Because now she felt that she was too naive, and was embarrassed by Bella's teasing. She wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Bella also felt that she had played too much, so she comforted him softly.
"Don't be angry. I think Jo Hong is interested in you, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't let you live in his house, right?
If I were to choose who would be the most suitable person to be with Jo Hong, I would definitely choose you." Tina slowly raised her head, showing one eye, and looked at Bella next to her.
"Are you teasing me again?"
"No, I mean it this time, I swear." Bella's slightly raised smile made Tina believe her words. "I feel like she is much more reliable than when she looks serious."
"All right." Tina sat up and thought about it. Then I realized that I was being tricked. I haven't even been sitting here for 5 minutes and I feel like my family's wealth has been emptied out. Why does she admit that she was interested in Jo Hong? And why did she feel happy because Bella supported her? This makes me lose face. When did you start to be interested in Jo Hung?
Faced with Bella's question, Tina was stunned for a moment, and her mind went blank for a moment.
Yes, when did I have this feeling? Could it be those words and promises Jo Hung said to himself last night? Or is it when you make lunch for yourself and treat yourself as a child? Or was it even earlier, when he brought me home, cooked food for me when I was cold and hungry, brought me hot water and medicine, and forced me to stay?
After thinking for a long time, Tina figured it out.
All these are.
This feeling definitely did not arise suddenly without any signs at a certain moment. The day I met Jo Hung, I slowly began to develop feelings for him, and they grew stronger day by day. Until now, I have to admit that this feeling is particularly obvious.
Be secretly happy because Jo Hung rejected Kelly, would be relieved to know about his relationship with Bella, and even feel uneasy because a girl in the same class approached Jo Hang. If all these cannot prove that I am interested in Jo Hung, then I will just deny it. From the first day I lived in Jo Hang's house. Tina answered honestly that she was not worried or embarrassed at all because everything she had now was given to her by Jo Hang. Oh, I see. Are you really willing to accept this now? Tina was stunned and asked blankly, what, meaning? Bella pointed to the empty space in front with a pen and said, I know why you came here.
When you came here, Kelly went out to look for Jo Hung, right? She has been secretly looking at Jo Hung these days, and she also looked at me.
With her way of thinking, she probably thought I was her rival in love, and then asked you to come and chat with me so that she could go find Jo Hung to prevent me from running out suddenly and running into them and ruining her business, right? This. Tina opened her mouth slightly, and for a long time she couldn't utter a word. Bella stretched out her hand, stopped her and said, You don't have to tell me anything. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. After all, it has nothing to do with me. I just wanted to help you because I offended you just now. I know you are doing this for your friendship, but are you really willing to do this? Bella's words completely stumped Tina. Her brain had lost the ability to control itself and her mind was in a mess. Bella saw that Tina didn't reply, so she waved her hand and said, Of course, I don't know how to fall in love. If you're willing, just ignore what I said. Tina took a deep breath, bit her lips hard, clenched her fists under the table, her fingertips turned white, and her heartbeat gradually accelerated. At this moment, Jo Hung, after being stopped by Kelly, did not want to pay attention. But she rushed up and grabbed my sleeve, wanting to take me to the stairs, saying she wanted to talk. He didn't dare to shake her off forcefully. After all, if he did, she might fall. No matter what, he still couldn't do such a heavy hand to a girl. After all, this happened in the corridor. Throwing a girl to the ground in front of so many people was not just a joke, but a scumbag. Jo Hung, just tell me. Jo Hung frowned, and his tone revealed a hint of annoyance. Kelly felt a little scared in her heart. She didn't think Jo Hung would have such an attitude. She felt strange and was too scared to speak out loud. She pinched the corner of her clothes, thinking of the dream she had last night. Now that things had come to this, it would be no good to back down. Well, I know, I promised you many times before that I would be with you, but I broke my promise. Nothing I say now can make up for the hurt I have caused you, but I still hope you can give me a chance, and we can still be good friends like we were in junior high school, okay? No. Jo Hung was brief and to the point, and did not give any unnecessary explanations. He felt that explaining anything was useless. After saying this, he was about to turn around and leave. But Kelly obviously didn't intend to miss this rare opportunity, so she took a step forward and grabbed Jo Hang's arm. Then what am I going to do, will you forgive me? Tisk. Jo Hang's eyebrows were furrowed tightly. He shook his arms, but he couldn't shake Kelly off. This kind of pestering made him feel overwhelmed, and he wondered why Kelly was a girl. If this were a boy, he would have to resort to violence. Now he can only hope that the class will start soon so that he can go back to the classroom. Ah, you're here. At this moment, the two suddenly heard a familiar voice. They turned around and looked. I found Bella had arrived here at some point, and behind her, Tina was following. I have something to talk to you about. Come with me. Bella almost ignored Kelly, walked over quickly, grabbed Zhou Heng's wrist, and dragged him away. Kelly stood there in bewilderment, watching Bella pull Zhou Heng away, eyes wide open, mouth slightly open. Tina walked over and whispered, I'm sorry, Tong Tong, I didn't stop Bella, I couldn't. Bella, who was holding him, and whispered, thank you. Bella glanced behind her and said, don't thank me. I just did someone a favor. I owe her. Chapter 30, they will be home soon, and if they leave, they will go to their living room. On Saturday afternoon, around 4:30, school was over. Zhou Heng was worried that he would be restrained by someone again, especially a girl who he couldn't do anything to, so he left the classroom immediately after class. Tina packed her things and prepared to leave. She saw that Kelly was in a bad mood and she couldn't comfort her. What happened at noon seemed to have a big impact on her. Tina looked away and saw Bella packing up her things and preparing to leave. She followed, but was not in a hurry to get to her side. Instead, he waited until he was out of the teaching building before quickly following. Bella, noon, thank you. Tina walked over to Bella and thanked her quietly. She thought about it for a long time at noon and decided to ask Bella for help. Bella knew that she wanted to maintain her friendship with Kelly, but she didn't want Kelly to have any contact with Zhou Heng. So she suggested that she should be the bad guy. Kelly regarded her as a love rival anyway, so let her continue to think so. Then there was the scene at noon. Bella came over and pulled Zhou Heng away, just to help Tina. Nothing. Not to mention that it's to compensate you, based on your, current situation, it's my duty to help you. Tina now really feels that it is not a big deal. At least she and Bella are friends now. She no longer took those things that teased her to heart. Tina suddenly thought of something and asked, by the way, tomorrow is a day off, do you have anything to do? No, if playing games at home counts as a thing, then yes. Then why don't you come to Zhou Heng's house and play together? It'll be more fun with more people, right? Bella looked at Tina at the side with some surprise. That look seemed to be questioning, are you telling the truth? After all, it's a rare day off, why don't you two stay at home alone? I don't mind. Doesn't Zhou Heng need to review? I told him yesterday that we should combine work and rest, and he agreed. After all, we can't study all day, right? Bella nodded and responded, well, I will go tomorrow. Yeah, there's also that. Tina thought of something, and took out the mobile phone Zhou Heng gave her from her pocket. Can you add me as a friend? Yeah, okay. Bella also took out her phone and added Tina as a friend. We have been classmates for more than 2 years, and now we have finally added each other's contact information. Making friends with classmates is a very simple and common thing for Tina. But now that she has made friends with Bella, she feels very happy. Tina is with Bella? What's going on? Why didn't she go with Kelly and the others? At this time, behind Tina and Bella, there were 2 boys, one of whom was Lu Yunhua. Tina sitting in Zhou Heng's seat today, he felt something was wrong. After school in the evening, he followed Tina out and found that Tina was leaving school with Bella. When did their relationship become so good? Could it be related to Zhou Heng? After all, when we talk about Bella now, the first thing we think of is Zhou Heng. The boy next to him said. Lu Yunhua glanced at him, shook his head, and retorted. Impossible. How could Tina be related to Zhou Heng? They have nothing in common. It's absolutely impossible. Not necessarily. Let me tell you my guess. Is it possible that both of them like Zhou Heng, and Tina is negotiating with Bella to decide who will stay with Zhou Heng? Lu Yunhua glared at him and said in a deep voice, Liang Jiaxiang, if you dare to make up rumors about Tina again, I will slap you in the face, believe it or not? Believe it or not, maybe Tina hasn't been with you yet just because you're too violent. Do you think it's possible? You. TSK. I won't bother with you.
Lu Yunhua was frustrated and ignored him, but continued to follow Tina and Bella from a distance. He really wanted to know what the two of them were talking about, but he couldn't follow them too closely, or he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Being so far away, I could only watch them from afar. Not only could I not hear them talking, but even if they turned a corner, it would be easy to lose them. Until Tina and Bella said goodbye to each other, and they walked in different directions and separated. Liang Jiaxiang patted Lu Yunhua's shoulder and said, "Okay, let's go home too. Why are you still chasing me? I'll be home soon. If you leave later, you'll just walk into my living room. Follow her for a while. I want to know where her home is." Liang Jiaxiang looked at him in disbelief and said in surprise, "I'll call the police if you do this. Are you a pervert? Following a girl from the same class home? Then all your political studies were in vain?" "No. I mainly wanted to give her a gift, but it's not easy to give it in class. She definitely won't accept it in front of others. I would be so embarrassed, so I thought it would be better to leave it at her doorstep." "Wow, so perverted and disgusting. You don't look like someone who would do such a thing, do you? Think about it yourself. You go out to school in the morning, and when you open the door, there is an unknown gift from a classmate at the door. To be honest, if she likes you very much, she can barely accept it, but if she has an average relationship with you, she will find it a bit disgusting." Lu Yunhua rolled his eyes at him and muttered, "You know shit. You don't understand, you just like to understand these shitty and fart things." At this time, the two saw Tina enter a building. Lu Yunhua's eyes lit up. It looked like this must be Tina's home. "Okay, let's go." Liang Jiaxiang held Lu Yunhua's hand, preventing him from moving forward. But Lu Yunhua shook his hand away and said, "Are you stupid? I have to check which floor it is. Otherwise, where should I put my gift? At the elevator entrance on the first floor? I wouldn't even know if someone kicked it away." Impressed, the two walked into the building and took a look at the elevator. The floor number displayed was 6th floor. "She lives on the 6th floor. Okay, got it. Come on, accompany me to see the gifts. I want to give her a surprise tomorrow." Lu Yunhua nodded, and then took Liang Jiaxiang out. Liang Jiaxiang looked hopeless at this moment, and sighed, as if he was extremely helpless. "Why don't you go by yourself? You ask me when you don't know what to buy, and you don't listen to what I tell you. If you buy something good, it's because you have good taste, and if you don't buy something good, it's because I didn't advise you." "Oh no, people always bring a military advisor when they are in love, can't you give me some advice?" Chapter 31. From now on, as long as I am here, I will never let her bother you again. In the classroom, Kelly was very worried, so she cleaned up slowly. She was thinking about something and was absent-minded. Tian-Run came over with a bag on his back, looked at Kelly and asked, "What's wrong? I feel like I've been dumped." Kelly suddenly raised her eyes and looked at Tian-Run with despair, as if she had lost all hope in life. "Oh." Tian-Run immediately covered his mouth, realizing that he seemed to be right. Normally, shouldn't she say something like, "Who could dump me?" Kelly all day, so she didn't talk to her much. "I don't know what happened to her." Hey. Just then, they heard a sound like Zhu Beiji running over with a laugh. They looked back and saw Kong Yu walking towards them with a smile on his face. Kelly and Tian-Run couldn't help but shudder. "You, what are you going to do?" Kelly stood up and hid behind Tian-Run. Tian-Run stood in front of Kelly and stretched out his hand, guarding against Kong Yu. There are only 3 of them in the classroom now. The 2 girls see a boy walking towards them with a smirk on his face. Who wouldn't be afraid? I'm looking for Kelly, something. Kong Yu scratched his head awkwardly, pointed at Kelly behind Tian-Run and said, "What is it?" Kelly poked her head out and asked cautiously. But in fact, she didn't care what it was. When this man had a conflict with Jo Hong, Kelly had no good feelings towards him. She was still looking so shunned that she was already very polite by not running away. Can we talk alone, just the two of us? Don't worry, I have no ill intentions and will not hurt you.
Ha! Go. Tian Run directly pulled Kelly out of the classroom. Kelly just felt uncomfortable all over.
Not to mention talking to him alone, just listening to what he said now made her want to call the police. Kangyu stood there, his body instantly stiffened, as if he was petrified.
He didn't know what was wrong with him and why everyone was avoiding him. Am I really annoying? Impossible. Kangyu immediately denied this.
He could not possibly think that he was the one who was annoying.
I haven't done anything wrong. It's true that I'm not that popular, but it's impossible for me to be hated, right?
After figuring this out, Kangyu breathed a sigh of relief and left the classroom. In his mind, he thought Kelly was just a little inconvenient today, and he would tell her next time when he had the chance. Tina returned home. She saw that the exercise book had been opened on the table. It seemed that Jo Hong had already started studying. Thinking about what happened today, Tina felt full of guilt.
She knew Jo Hong didn't want to have any contact with Kelly anymore. But I knew it but didn't say anything, and even supported Kelly.
If Jo Hong found out about this, he would definitely end up like Kelly.
What's wrong?
Jo Hong saw Tina standing at the door, wondering what she was thinking.
No. It's okay.
She had already decided in her heart that she would never make such a mistake again. Although Kelly was her friend. But in terms of importance, Jo Hang is more important in her heart, and this does not need to be considered.
Tina quickly put down her things, sat next to Jo Hong, and said, "Let me help you review." Jo Hong nodded.
He admitted that it was a good idea to let Tina teach him.
At least it gave him some hope.
Otherwise, based on his previous learning progress, it would be good if his ranking in this monthly exam did not drop, let alone rise by 50 places. Tina beside him, and suddenly thought of what happened at noon.
Tina came here with Bella. Bella knew that she was being harassed by Kelly, which meant Tina knew it too? Tina, you are Kelly's good friend, right? Ah, yes. Tina was stunned for a moment, then responded quietly.
She felt a little uneasy, as if Jo Hong knew something and was going to bring charges against her. In an instant, many possibilities emerged in her mind. It was possible that Jo Hang would kick her out, or from then on he would pretend not to know her and equate her with Kelly.
After a moment, Jo Hong opened his mouth and said, "Just consider it as a favor to me. Don't let her bother me. She's a girl, and I can't do anything to her. Just try to persuade her. I beg you." Tina was slightly startled, and it took her a few seconds to react. "You ask me for help?" "Yes, a girl must be treated by a girl. Bella is not familiar with her, so I can only trust you." Tina felt relieved and also felt Jo Hang's trust.
This feeling not only made her very happy, but also made her feel that she had failed to live up to Jo Hang's trust. She nodded heavily and said seriously, "Don't worry, as long as I am here, I will never let her bother you again."
"Yes, thank you."
Jo Hong suddenly thought of something and continued, "Oh, by the way, Kangyu happens to be interested in her, so you can bring her together with Kangyu. Kelly's pursuit writes with him in the toilet today, Kangyu." In Jo Hang's mind, he was a complete weirdo, but there were always a few weirdos in a class, and this was not uncommon. He was just surprised that he had anything to do with such a weird person. At the same time, he also regretted having a conflict with Kangyu. For such a person, ignoring him was the best option. If I get into a conflict with him seriously, others will think I am a weirdo too. Tina couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, as if she hadn't remembered this person for a moment. Kangyu? He? It was hard for her to describe this person. As the class monitor, she was not familiar with all the students in the class, but she knew their personalities. Among the boys, she felt that Kangyu could be ranked among the last few. Neither his reputation nor his grades are very good, so you rarely see anyone playing with him,
I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Tina agreed verbally, but she knew that if she really introduced someone like Kongyu to Kelly, then Kelly will definitely turn against her. She must think that she is playing a trick on me. After solving Kelly's problem, Tina is now wondering whether she should tell Jo-hong that she invited Bella to come and play. After all, this is his house. If I invite Bella to come over, I should get his consent, right? At that time, I thought that given the relationship between Bella and Jo-hong, Jo-hang would not object, so I made the decision on my own. Now that I think about it, it's better to ask. Jo-hong, I invited Bella to come here and play with me tomorrow. Do you agree? Chapter 32. She told me that she has a good impression of you. Jo-hong was silent for a few seconds and said, Bella, I'm fine with that, but you really made friends with her? Well, no. Tina lowered her head slightly, looking as if she was worried about being scolded. She was afraid that Jo-hang would not agree, and that she would make a mistake. After all, she was living under someone else's roof, so she had to be careful in everything she did and said. Jo-hong turned around and continued writing, saying, Of course, I have to thank you. Thank me? Tina was a little confused. What did she have to be thanked for? Jo-hong nodded and explained. Yes, when she was in the first year of high school, her mother told me that she hoped I could help her make some friends so that she would have no one to talk to in school. But that really overestimates me. If I knew how to make friends, I would have made them myself a long time ago. That's why I've been hanging out with her for the past 2 years. Even though she may not seem to care much about you making friends with her, she should actually be very happy. No way? Tina widened her eyes, somewhat unable to believe it. Was the truth really as exaggerated as Jo-hong said? She only knew that she was very happy in her heart, but looking at Bella's expression, it seemed that she didn't care. Well, she told me that she has a crush on you. Real? Tina smiled brightly when she heard this, her eyes sparkling with joy. Bella would dislike her, but now hearing Jo-hong say this in person, she felt relieved instantly. Yeah, really, so if she offends you in any way, don't take it personally, she just hasn't been around friends in a long time. Aha! Tina happily agreed. She was not angry about what happened today, nor did she feel offended. She just felt shy because her inner self was seen through. Having resolved her inner worries, Tina felt much better instantly. When she was tutoring Jo-hong, she always had a smile on her face. By around 7 in the evening, the two were a little hungry. Jo-hong put down his pen and stood up. I'll go cook. Etc. Tina in confusion, not knowing why she called him. Tina stood up and said, Well, let me do it. Don't you need to study hard? Can you cook? Yes, I will. Tina nodded firmly, and then added, I just don't know if it will suit your taste. It's okay, just try it. Jo-hong didn't care, because he really wanted to seize the time to study. If it weren't for Tina here. In fact, he just wanted to cook some instant noodles to eat, since he was alone. But now that Tina is here, he can't deal with it that way. Knowing that Tina can cook, he is of course willing to let her do it, which can save him a lot of time. Okay. Tina came to the kitchen and started cooking. She remembered that when she was at home, she often cooked for her parents. It's a pity that there is no such opportunity now. After half an hour, the fire was lit in the kitchen. Although Jo-hong wanted to learn more at this time, but his attention would still drift to the kitchen from time to time, because he had never seen Tina cook. Worrying that she might make a mistake, that the food she prepared might not be edible, or that something might happen accidentally, etc. Fortunately, the process went smoothly. After about an hour, Jo-hong smelled the fragrance coming from the kitchen. Tina brought the food to the table and called Jo-hong. Okay. You can come and eat now. Yes, here I come. Jo-hong put down his pen, went to the dining table, and saw the food on the table.
First of all, the steamed rice looks fine, the grains are plump and the hardness should be normal. The two dishes were also delicious and without any flaws, which made Jo Hong feel relieved.
It looks pretty good. Try it. Tina smiled and motioned Jo Hong to sit down. Jo Hong picked up the chopsticks and took a simple bite.
He frowned slightly at first, then nodded silently and praised.
It's delicious. Really? Just eat it if you like. Tina's heart was relieved immediately.
She was confident in her cooking skills. But I was still very worried that Jo Hong would not like it.
Now that I'm qualified, that's more important than anything else.
Tina also sat down, ready to eat, and said, "If you like, I'll do it from now on.
This way you can save a lot of time." Jo Hong did not reply immediately.
He looked up at his fitness area. He had not exercised for a long time.
It is true that time is too short for me now. After school every day, I have almost no time. It is simply impossible to squeeze in an hour or two to exercise. If Tina cooks, it can save me time and allow me to exercise or do other things. But in his mind, Tina was a guest after all, so how could he let a guest cook? After hesitating for a moment, Jo Hong opened his mouth and said, "Let's do it alternately, one day at a time, or every 2 days." Tina was stunned for a moment, as if she was thinking. After a while, she seemed to understand what Jo Hong meant and nodded. Okay. After dinner, the two continued to study. After 10 o'clock in the evening, they took a shower one after another. After Jo Hong walked out of the bathroom, he sat down at the table and picked up a pen. He originally wanted to study for a few more hours, but after yawning, sleepiness suddenly came over him and swept through his brain. For a moment, his eyelids felt heavy, as if he was about to be unable to open them. He knew that he hadn't gotten enough sleep in the past week. When he thought about having a day off tomorrow and that school was still early today, he couldn't help but feel sleepy. Ha!
He yawned again, and this time he felt even more sleepy, so he quickly got up and walked to the bedroom, ready to go to bed. Otherwise, I would fall asleep on the table soon. He walked into the bedroom and laid down on the bed, not even having time to cover himself with the quilt. He closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. All his fatigue from the past week was released at this moment. At this time, Tina was still taking a shower in the bathroom and didn't know that Jo Hong had gone to the bedroom to sleep. When she finished her shower, put on her pajamas, and walked out of the bathroom, she found that no one was outside. The seat where Jo Hong sat was empty, and the book on the table was still open. Chapter 33, Can't You Get Pregnant Just by Holding Hands? Tina came to the bedroom and saw Jo Hong lying on the bed. He had fallen into a deep sleep, with his long eyelashes drooping down, his eyes closed, and even breathing sounds. Tina saw Jo Hong sleeping soundly with a faint smile on her face. She walked gently to the bedside, picked up the quilt, and covered Jo Hong with it. "Good night." Tina turned off the bedroom light and lay down on the other side of the bed. Now, she was no longer as frightened as she was on the first night. Lying on the bed, she felt as if she were at home and felt very safe. The cool moonlight came in through the gap in the curtains. The bedroom was particularly quiet. Compared to Jo Hong's deep sleep, Tina didn't feel sleepy at this time, which meant that she couldn't fall asleep at all. She began to think back to what happened today. If she could say that the biggest gain for her today was making friends with Bella. Don't be fooled by her appearance of not caring much, she should actually be quite happy. Tina still found it a little hard to believe when she thought about what Jo Hong said to her. Would Bella, who gave her classmates the impression of being unapproachable, be happy to be friends with her? Tina took out her phone, opened it, and looked at the chat interface with Bella. At this point, nothing has been discussed, only a verification message. She opened Bella's circle of friends and found that, like Jo Hong, it was all empty. If you open Kelly's moments, you can see a lot of her photos, including the food she shared and the beautiful scenery she took when she went out to play. Tina thought, Bella should not be asleep yet at this time? She had the idea of sending a message to Bella. Anyway, I have nothing to do now, but she should be playing games now, right?
Is it okay to disturb her? After hesitating for a moment, Tina thought that a simple greeting would be enough. If she was busy, she probably wouldn't reply. Tina sent a greeting emoji and then turned off her phone.
There is a hint of anticipation, and also some nervousness. Because Bella was someone she couldn't figure out, she had no idea whether she would reply or how she would reply.
About 2 minutes later, Tina's cell phone rang.
She quickly opened it and found that it was indeed a message from Bella.
What's wrong? Shouldn't you be sleeping with Jo Hong in your arms now? How come you have time to send me a message?
Tina stared at the message on her phone with wide eyes in disbelief. She quickly glanced behind her to see if Jo Hong had woken up. If he saw what she said, she would be so embarrassed. What do you mean by hugging each other while sleeping? We sleep separately, with a blanket between us.
Huh? You two really slept in the same bed?
Hiss. Tina realized that she seemed to have sent it to the wrong person and shouldn't have told Bella about this. She only knew that she lived in Jo Hang's house, but she didn't know where she slept.
Isn't this just self-destruction? Bella sent another emoticon to express her surprise. Tina knew that explanation was useless, so she told Bella the truth. She originally planned to sleep on the sofa, but Jo Hong wouldn't let her. The two of them pushed each other around, and then, they both slept on the bed. I have lived here for several nights now, and I have gotten used to it. Since you're already sleeping together, just confirm your relationship right away.
Ah.
How do I confirm the relationship?
Tina looked at the chat on her phone, her heart pounding. This was truly a conversation that made her heart beat faster.
I don't know.
This touches on my blind spot.
Can't you get pregnant just by holding hands? Tina looked at the message sent by Bella and thought to herself that she must know a lot. At least he knows more than me. But he still doesn't tell me. Boom. Tina's phone suddenly fell from her hand and almost hit her face.
Her hands froze, completely motionless, her eyes widened, and her body seemed to be frozen. Because now, Jo Hang's arm was on himself. Just now, Jo Hong turned over and sat directly on the quilt in the middle, then stretched out his arms and pressed on her body. At this moment, it was as if Jo Hong was holding her while sleeping.
Ah! Jo! Tina mechanically turned her head and looked at Jo Hang's face, which was only 10 centimeters away from her.
He was still asleep at this time, and this was also his completely unconscious behavior.
But what should I do now? Should I wake him up? If I move a little now, I'll probably wake him up.
Since he was already like this, he must be very sleepy.
Tina didn't have the heart to wake him up.
After all, Jo Hong must have endured more pressure and fatigue this week because of his own reasons. In addition, he will have an exam soon, which will make him feel even more stressed.
Maybe he can rest tomorrow and relax his tense nerves. That's why he was so sleepy. It's good to sleep like this, so that he can feel more relaxed tomorrow and release a lot of stress. After thinking for a moment, Tina put down her hand and decided not to wake Jo Hong up and let him sleep quietly. If I wake him up, I will really feel guilty. Tina stared at the dark ceiling and couldn't close her eyes. She was not very sleepy to begin with, and now this situation made it even harder for her to fall asleep. Feeling Jo Hang's strong arms made her feel extremely safe. Even through the quilt, I can feel it. She even began to imagine what it would feel like to lie in Jo Hang's arms. That feeling of being surrounded must make people feel particularly safe. Just like that, after 20 minutes, Tina didn't move at all, allowing Jo Hong to sleep peacefully. At this time, Jo Hang's arm moved. His arm moved up a little, directly from Tina's belly to her chest. Exclamation point. Tina's body trembled slightly. Her face could not be seen in the dark, but her face was extremely hot at this moment. It was obvious that it must be very red. Fortunately, there was a quilt between us. If there wasn't any quilt, I would definitely be frozen now.
About 10 minutes later, Jo Hong turned over again and returned to his side, leaving Tina with his back. Her tense body relaxed, otherwise she would have felt as if her waist was hanging in the air.
I don't think he will remember anything tomorrow, Tina thought.
But in her heart, she actually had a thought that she wanted Jo Hong to remember all this, although she knew it was impossible. After persisting for so long, Tina felt sleepy, so she closed her eyes and fell asleep soon.
After a while,
Jo Hong opened his eyes, staring wide, as if cold sweat was pouring out of his forehead.
He is so scared now. Just before he turned over, he actually woke up.
When he woke up, he found himself sleeping in the middle of the bed with his arms on Tina's body.
He didn't know whether Tina was asleep or not.
So he quickly turned over and returned to this side, facing the wall, terrified.
What if Tina didn't sleep? Will she come to question me tomorrow? Then I will say I don't know. I was sleeping soundly. Chapter 34. Your brain is stuck by a music box, right?
The next morning, the warm sunlight shone through the glass curtains.
Tina opened her hazy eyes and took a few seconds to regain consciousness, just like turning on a computer.
She turned her head and looked to the side, and found that there was no one on the bed.
Jo Hong had already got up.
She also sat up and adjusted her pajamas. After sleeping, her shoulder straps were exposed. Then she tied her hair, folded the quilt, opened the curtains, and walked out of the bedroom. At this time, Jo Hong had just finished making breakfast and brought it to the table. The two looked at each other, and in an instant, what happened last night flashed through their minds. Although Jo Hong only had the memory of those 10 minutes, he knew what happened to him last night.
He wanted to know how long he had been like that, and whether Tina was awake at the time. It would be too embarrassing if I was awake.
If she started to blame me, I would have to play dumb. When Tina thought about what happened last night, her face blushed involuntarily. This was the first time in her life that she was hugged by a boy, and on the bed. At that time, she felt that there was a big difference in size between herself and Jo Hong. If she were in his arms, she would definitely be very small for him.
Well, morning, have breakfast. Not sure if he felt guilty, Jo Hong took the initiative to greet Tina.
This was the first time he said good morning to Tina, and he was a little uncomfortable with it.
Okay, I'll go wash up first. Tina also noticed this detail and quickly went into the bathroom.
She looked at herself in the mirror and immediately washed her face with cold water, which calmed her down a lot. Early in the morning, when her mind was clearest, she didn't want to start a new day like this. After she finished washing up, she came out and sat at the dining table, and the two of them began to eat in silence.
It was around 9:30 in the morning. Two people came to the door of Jo Hong's house. These two people are Lu Yunchua and Liang Jiaxiang.
At this time, Lu Yunchua was holding a gift box in his hand. He sneaked down the elevator and began to look around like a thief.
Liang Jiaxiang followed behind, wishing he could kick him in the ass.
Hey, why are you here so early?
Are you sick?
Shoo!
Lu Yunchua quickly turned around and gestured to him to keep his voice down. The gift in my hand almost fell to the ground. Keep your voice down. You're so silly. Her parents must be at work at this time.
Even if she's going out today, she'll probably still be home at this time, so this is the best time to give her a gift.
What if her parents are at home? What about your gift? Then I'm not afraid. Anyway, I'm sincere.
Since I've decided to pursue her, I'm not afraid of being discovered by her parents.
Lu Yunchua patted his chest and said confidently. Liang Jiaxiang looked at the three doors in front of him and said, well, but there is another question. You only know that it is on the 6th floor. Do you know which door it is? Well. Lu Yunchua's hand paused in the air, and he was stunned. He really didn't know which door Tina's home was.
If she put it in the wrong place and left it at her neighbor's door, it would be so embarrassing.
I said, what did you buy in the end?
You asked me to go with you yesterday, and you hid what you bought in the end.
Tell me to keep it a secret. Liang Jiaxiang pointed at the gift box in Tina's arms and asked puzzledly. Music box. Liang Jiaxiang's brows twisted into a shape, with a look of surprise on his face. He blinked and asked. Is there a ring hidden in the music box? Or a necklace or a bracelet? No. It's just a music box, but when you open it, there's a carousel spinning around. It's pretty nice. Lu Yunhua felt that Liang Jiaxiang's eyes were becoming more and more strange, so he spoke less and less confidently, and his voice was particularly low. Liang Jiaxiang took a deep breath, looking like he was about to be pissed off, pointed at him, and cursed in a low voice. Your brain is stuck with a music box, right? Are you stupid? Are you thinking of this as a Children's Day gift for elementary school students? What happened? You gave this to someone you like? You didn't see this thing online labeled creative birthday gift for girlfriend on Valentine or something like that and thought it would move people to tears, right? No. I think this one is pretty good, and it's not cheap. Go ahead and give it to your friends. Then you'll be forgotten forever. Then people will laugh at you for the rest of your life. When they have a class reunion in the future and can't remember your name, they can still call you the guy who gave the music box. Then, what should I do? Should I change it? Lu Yunhua also realized that something was wrong and panicked. Nonsense. Of course I'll change it. Come on, I'll help you choose. Now go change it. Liang Jiaxiang quickly grabbed Lu Yunhua's arm and tried to drag him away. I pressed the down button and waited for the elevator to come up. After waiting for the elevator door to slowly open, the two were about to take a step forward, but they immediately retracted their feet. Because there was a person standing at the elevator door. Under the black cap was a head of short hair and a pair of light pink headphones hung on her snow-white neck. The jacket has two sleeves rolled up, and a small vest is worn underneath, which highlights the figure very well. The shorts on her lower body make her legs look particularly slender, and the black calf socks make her look even more slender. Under those thin and graceful lips, there was a lollipop in her mouth. When Lu Yunhua and Liang Jiaxiang saw the person in front of them, they froze in their tracks, not knowing whether to advance or retreat. Dawn, Bella? Ah, you guys. Bella frowned slightly and looked at the two people in front of her with some surprise. But when she saw the gift box in Lu Yunhua's hand, she seemed to understand everything. Are you here to give Tina a gift? How did you know she lives here? Bella took 2 steps forward and stepped out of the elevator, forcing Lu Yunhua and Liang Jiaxiang to retreat. Bella here. Was she here to look for Tina? Liang Jiaxiang glanced at Bella's hand, which seemed to be holding something. When he saw that thing, his eyes widened and his eyeballs almost popped out. PS5? Bella came to play games with Tina? 2 girls? Playing PS5? Lu Yunhua didn't know what that thing was. He was panicking. If Bella knew that she followed Tina yesterday and found out about this. If she told Tina, then I would be completely finished. In a hurry, he blurted out. I asked. Callie. Yes, she told me, she said Tina's house is here. Oh? Bella tilted her head, raised her eyebrows, snorted and sneered, and asked lightly. You said you asked Kelly, and she told you that Tina's house is here? Are you sure? Chapter 35. No, I don't accept his gift. Sure. Aren't they good friends? It's normal that she knows where Tina's home is. Lu Yunhua felt that he had gotten away with it, so he breathed a sigh of relief and was also glad that he reacted quickly enough. Bella snorted coldly, turned her head, glanced at the gift in Lu Yunhua's hand, stretched out her hand, and said, Give it to me, I'll help you bring it in to her. Oh no. This. Why? Are you going to send me off or not? Bella raised her crescent-shaped eyebrows, with a slightly contemptuous expression on her face, as if expressing her contempt for them. What Lu Yunhua can't stand the most is this kind of expression, especially when a girl shows such an expression. He was so angry that he gave the gift away and said, "Okay, then you can leave it to her."
Liang Jiaxiong, who was standing by, widened his eyes and looked at Lu Yunhua in disbelief.
Didn't he listen to what I just said? Bella was not ambiguous, she took the gift and walked towards the door.
Liang Jiaxiong wanted to say something, but Lu Yunhua didn't give him a chance. He pushed him into the elevator and prepared to leave. He was afraid that when he opened the door, Tina would see him, and he would not be able to explain why he knew about her family's affairs.
Bang, bang. Bella knocked on the door, and then heard footsteps from inside. As the door opened, it was Tina standing at the door. "Bella? You're here." Tina saw Bella, she smiled and was very happy. "Well, where's Jo Hung?" "He's studying. We just finished breakfast." Bella entered the room and saw Jo Hung studying at the table. She put down the other things in her hands, walked over with a paper bag, and placed it on the table. Jo Hung raised his head and asked in surprise, "What is this?" "My mom knew I was coming to your place, so she asked me to bring you some food." "It's really... I'm so depressed."
Bella stretched her sore shoulders and walked over with these things, which made her exhausted. Jo Hong took a look at the bag and saw all kinds of food inside, including fruits, cakes, melon seeds, peanuts, and a treasure porridge.
"Well, thank my aunt for me." Jo Hong put the paper bag on the ground and continued studying. Bella glanced at the exercise book on the table and said, "Tina and I are going to play first. We won't wait for you." "Ah, go play first." Jo Hong waved his hand. He saw Bella brought the PS5. Although he wanted to play it, the most important thing now was to review. Then strictly abide by the rules of combining work and rest, and then go play for a while. Tina didn't know what it was, it looked quite big, but she saw a box next to it. That box looks like a gift box. Did Bella bring it? Who is it for? This is... Tina picked up the gift box, looked at Bella and asked. Bella looked up and replied, I met two scammers at the door, and one of them gave it to you." "Fraud?" "Yes, one is the sports committee member of the class, and the other is the life committee member." "What?" Tina didn't react for a moment, and after a moment, she asked. "Lu Yunhua and Liang Jiaxiang? Are they liars?" "No." "Were they at the door just now?" "Well, the sports committee member is full of lies. He lied without blinking an eye. He said he found out from Kelly that you lived here. I think he must have followed you." Bella showed a disgusted expression on her face. Such an obvious lie really made her sick. If this is really Tina's home, she might believe this lie. The key point is that this is not the place. This is Jo Heng's house. How could Kelly know that Tina lives in Jo Heng's house? Isn't this obviously treating people as fools? Following someone to their doorstep and then secretly delivering gifts, if this happened to her, she would really call the police. Tina looked at the gift in her hand and couldn't help but frown. She didn't expect Lu Yunhua to be such a person. This is not her home, this is Jo Heng's home. This would undoubtedly bring trouble to Jo Hong, which would be equivalent to bringing trouble to himself. Jo Hong stopped writing, raised his head and looked at the two of them, as if he was thinking about something. Then, he stretched out his hand, looked at Bella and asked softly, Lu Yunhua likes her? Yes, the whole class knows it, even I know it, don't you know? I have no idea. Jo Hong shook his head, looking sincere, not like he was lying at all. After all, he really didn't know. About a week ago, he didn't know either Tina or Lu Yunhua at all. At that time, his daily routine was to go to school and confess his love to Kelly, and then play games and exercise when he got home. He had no time to care about other people's affairs. Therefore, he had no idea about these secrets that everyone in the class knew. I do not like him. Tina almost blurted it out, her voice was sonorous and powerful, and very firm. Bella and Jo Hang were both stunned and looked at Tina blankly. Her reaction was as if she was in a hurry to explain. Tina seemed to realize that her reaction was a bit too intense.
2 blushes suddenly appeared on her cheeks, and the redness spread from her cheeks to the corners of her eyes and eyebrows.
Ah, okay. Jo Hong nodded and answered hesitantly.
In his opinion, Tina's reaction must mean that she really hates Lu Yunhua, which is why she is so anxious to explain.
Bella shook her head and said, "Don't worry about that for now, just open the presents and take a look."
No, I won't accept his gift.
Even if you want to throw it away, you should open it and take a look, right? Then when you go to school, he will ask you if you received the gift and whether you like it. You don't even know what's inside, so you won't be able to answer. If you are like us and don't care about other people's opinions and views, then you can do whatever you want. However, aren't you the class monitor?
You have to maintain good relationships with others.
After hearing what Bella said, Tina hesitated.
She certainly didn't intend to accept it, but what Bella said made some sense. As the class monitor, it was important for her to maintain relationships in the class. If there was a split in the class, it would be her dereliction of duty.
If it's your turn, I'd say you should just take a look at it. If you don't like it, you can return it to him when you go to school. If you return it after you've looked at it, it means you don't like the gift, and he can't say anything. Okay. Tina nodded and agreed with Bella's suggestion.
At this time, Jo Hung couldn't sit still anymore, so he stood up and walked over. He also wanted to see what gift Lu Yunhua had sent.
How it is different from the gift he bought for Kelly before. If the gift you buy is very good, he can also learn from it.